Hello, my dear viewers, students and non-students. This is ClassroomTZ, and I'm Shadrach Swiller, your teacher of history. And today we're going to check the second topic of Form 1. It's called the evolution of man and technology. And we are going to discuss through questions and answers. We are doing all this for the preparation of examination. We are approaching the exams. So Form 2 and Form 4, this is your correct video. You can check it to assure how far your revision went and how it's going. So I selected different questions as I done the first discussion of the first topic of introduction to history, importance, sources and importance of history. We discussed the other questions from Form 2 exam, and also today we're going to check the second topic in terms of questions and answers. By doing so, we are trying to simplify and making the learning situation be simple, rather than being so competent in notes and take most of time reading the notes. Sometimes we may read these questions, and also I'm sure they can help you so much to have good performance in your exams. So I'm Shadrach Swiller, be with me. We are going to check the questions of 2015 up to 2024, but only from the topic of evolution of man and technology, the second topic of Form 1. So here we go, we may start. Question number 1. It was from the arrangement of the sentences. This was 2015. Question number 2. You asked it to arrange the sentences in chronological order by writing the Roman numbers in the table provided. So in exam, you are given the questions in those sentences, and at the bottom, they are giving you the table that you may put the answers by referring those Roman numbers. Sentence number 1 will be which Roman, sentence number 2 which Roman, up the last sentence. So let's read this sentence and try to rearrange in chronological order. Roman 1, it was, these activities enable man to obtain his needs from the nature. Roman 2, man's basic needs consist food, clothing, and shelter. Roman 3, the actions man takes upon the nature have one major aim. Roman 4, history is a record of human activities, And Roman 5, the aim to change natural object into a condition of satisfying human needs. So in order to tackle well these questions, you should firstly read all those questions, all those sentences, and then start to rearrange in which should be the first question, sentence, according to the event of occurrence. So according to my understanding, it seems the first sentence should be Roman 4. History is a record of human activities. That's where all things start. History is the record of human activities. Then what are those activities? We're going to check sentence number 2. Sentence number 2 should be Roman 1. These activities enable man to obtain his needs from nature. So history is the record of human activities. Although we didn't mention those activities, but continuation is telling us those activities enable man to obtain his needs from nature. Then sentence number 3 should be Roman 2. Man's basic needs consist of food, clothing, and shelter. So refer the sentence number Roman 1, that was sentence number 2. These activities enable man to obtain his needs from nature. What were human needs? Human needs is stated in sentence Roman 2. That is going to be sentence number 3. Man's basic needs consist of food, clothing, and shelter. Sentence number 4 is going to be Roman 3. The action of man takes upon nature have one major aim. What was the aim of those actions? And the aim of those actions, sentence Roman 5, that is number 5, the aim to change natural object into a condition of satisfying human needs. That was the aim of all human activities. In short, it was aimed to control nature. The human found those things set there, so he started to apply his knowledge, his everything here, in order to make sure we are changing what we are seeing in our environment to satisfy our need. So that is all about how we are arranging sentence, and according to that question, this was the correct arrangement. One thing is, in the questions of arranging sentences, there's no need to to put your effort claiming the sentences, because changeably. Do not expect to get the same questions or the same sentences as this or everywhere. But what we need you to understand is, make sure you have full knowledge of history, you have full knowledge of a series of events chronologically, what was the first event, what the second event, the last event. Only make sure you are competent in history. If you're competent in history, then you can get questions or sentences from different concepts, and you're able to arrange. That was question number 1, 2015. Question number 2 of today is, the man's major technological innovation during the Middle Stone Age was during the Middle Stone Age. Remember, we have those Stone Ages: Early Stone Age, Middle Stone Age, and the Late Stone Age. So today the question is just in Middle Stone Age. What man discovered in Middle Stone Age? All of us were aware about what man done. It was discovering of fire. Man discovered fire during Middle Stone Age. And make sure you are able to understand the impact of discovering of fire, or the changes occurred after man discovered the fire, or how fire helped the human to change his life. Question number 3, the evolution theory explaining about. What is all about evolution theory? Evolution theory, sometimes referred to scientific evolution theory. Evolution theory tries to explain the origin of man by using scientific approach. That is evolution theory, trying to explain the origin of man using scientific approach. That was matching item question. Check there, question number 1, number 2. So the correct alternative, it was the origin of man using a scientific approach. Is explaining where man come from by scientific way. Question number 4. One of the characteristics of man before discovering of iron technology was, what were the feature of man before discovering iron? Man dependence on the environment for survival. Before man discovered iron, most of his life it was on things there in the environment. But yes, we know iron is coming from environment, but after discovering iron, there is impact of iron. It split the immunity, push up, or it led to the development of human activities. Man advanced in production activities comparing before the discovering of iron. And sometimes even there are some of things got from there in environment. Actually, in history, when we say environment, we refer nature. Those things that never made by man. And then after discovering of iron, man was able to survive even without depending on nature, because some of demands or some of basic needs were able to be obtained without depending on nature through the uses of iron or the impact of iron technology. Then question number 5. Why there was a big change in man's life during the late Stone Age compared to early and middle Stone Age? That is question number 1, Roman 5. Multiple choices. Why there was a big change in man's life during the late Stone Age compared to the early and middle Stone Age? Surely all of us will understand the reason why we are calling this early Stone Age, middle Stone Age, and late Stone Age. The main reason is there is some of improvement or development of human life comparing the previous stage. That's why they are going from the early, middle, and late. So why there is high changes or more changes in late Stone Age than early and middle? The reason will be because of the use of more improved tools and the settlement. Remember, this multiple choice question, so we are limited to choose the correct answer. But if not multiple choice, there are so many reasons. But according to this question, and referring the multiple choices, the answer it was because of the use of more improved tools and settlement. How? I can explain more. Man used the poor tools in early Stone Age and the Middle Stone Age, comparing the improved tools in late Stone Age. In early and middle, mostly man used the stones, and those stones were heavy and not sharp, comparing to the late Stone Age. Those weapons or those tools of production were lighter and were smooth, not heavy comparing the previous ones. So there is a reversement of tools compared to the previous. The issue of settlement is at late Stone Age, man started to live what permanent settlement, comparing those scavenger life of early Stone Age and the Middle Stone Age. So because of this improvement, but this was in activities, but also there is improvement in the physical appearance of human, physical changes of human in all those ages. There is a difference. The man who existed in early Stone Age, not the same man who existed in late Stone Age. They changed the body morphology, physiology, and the all appearance about man. So there's two ways to show the improvement or the difference between these ages, by using human activities and also by using a physical change of human being. Question number 6. In East Africa historical sites where the skull of the earliest man was discovered is known as the place where the skull of man discovered. In East Africa, we have only one place, mainly famous one, not only one, but the famous one. It is Olduvai Gorge by that scientific Dr. Louis Leakey. So the skull of man discovered at Olduvai Gorge, located in Arusha. That is where the skull of man discovered. Brief, explain the following. You need to explain the following. That was 2016, question number 5, Roman 1. In those question number 5, there are almost like 5 Romans, but one of the Roman, it was from this topic, evolution of man technology. And the students were asked to define or to explain what the meaning of evolution. Evolution is a gradual change from simple form to complex form. One thing you're supposed to be aware here is they need you to explain what the meaning of evolution, not the evolution of man. We want only evolution, and then after evolution, we are connecting with the evolution of man. So the first concept is to understand what is evolution, and then we can connect you to the evolution of man. So before going to the evolution of man, you should be aware what is evolution. Evolution is the gradual change from simple to complex, from the normal form or simple form to more advanced form or complex form. So from there, then you can say, if they want you to explain what is the evolution of man, then you can say evolution of man, or the gradual change of man from simple form to the complex form. How? Then you will refer there a physical change of man, brain capacity, movement, bipedalism, when those 4 limbs, level or quantity of body hairs, how the body was covered by hair. Slowly and slowly man changed from working by 4 limbs to 2 limbs. That is from simple to complex. Simple, it was working by 4 limbs, complex working by 2 limbs. Quantity of those body hair, how far the body was covered by hair. In the previous, the human body was fully covered by hair, but slowly, because of those reasons of evolution, man changed it from those high level of hair covered full body, then it reduced we start to see the skin of human being. Out of that, brain capacity, CC, cranial capacity, brain capacity developed from the lowest brain capacity to the highest brain capacity. And the improvement of this brain capacity, that's where we are getting complex form of human. Development of brain capacity determines all activities done by human. As we know, simple brain or thin brain, you cannot be the same as those with the larger brain or bigger brain. So simple form, those early Stone Age or Middle Stone Age, there is lowest improvement comparing late Stone Age, Iron Age, and so. So, according to this question, you are defining the gradual change of something, of anything, from simple to complex. But if you ask the evolution of man, then you can connect the concept of man. What were the effects of discovery of fire during the Middle and Late Stone Age? As I told you, in 2015, they asked us about the important discovery in the Middle Stone Age. It was multiple choice, that was fire. Then here in question number 7, they need you to explain the effect or the impact of fire to man in Late Stone Age and Middle Stone Age. So here where the impact or where the support of fire to human. First of all, man started to eat cooked food. Because of fire, man was able to cook and to eat roasted food or roasted meat. Mean that before that, man was eating something called the raw food. Raw food means that man got the food and consumed direct without changing the form from that raw one to at least cooked one. So after discovering of fire, it enabled man to eat cooked food. Enabled man to live in a cold area, as we know fire is source of hot. So by discovering of fire, man was able at least to control nature. Before that, that's where we say the man controlled nature, nature controlled man. At the beginning, how nature controlled man, like man should go where he's able to live according to that situation. Example, before discovering fire, man was not able to live in a cold area because he was not able to control cold, that weather condition from cold to hot. He was able to live on that. If it is hot, he's not able to change from hot to cold. Or he was not able to change from cold to hot. But after discovering of fire, man was able to go and live in a cold area because he's able to control that cold weather condition by using fire. That is the second level. Actually, that's the first level for human history. First level of human history is how man is able to control the nature, not nature controlling man. Making of glue from gums by using fire, man was able to melt some of glues and making glues. Man was able to melt some gums and make glues from them. Provided security to man from wild animals. As we know, if you are in the forest or if you are surrounded by wild animals, fire is among of the natural weapon to scare those animals go away. So man used the fire as a security tools or security weapon from wild animals. Cleaning of bushes by burning trees and grasses. Also fire, it was cleaning agent. A place where man wanted to start a settlement or man want to start farming activities. If there is trees and the grasses, bushes, man used the fire to clean those areas. And even up today, especially when we are preparing our farms, if we are preparing our farms for the next season, we use the fire to clear the bushes. And also those who are going to start a new area or new settlement, especially those in Temiship. There in Form 1, the last topic, we're going to discuss the concept of social political organization that is in Temiship. In Temiship, those who established the new settlement, also they use the fire to clear the bushes. Enabled man to have long working hours. So also here, we can see man control nature. Previous, according to nature, man is supposed to work from morning to evening. At night, because of dark, man was not able to work. But after discovering of fire, man can decide, let me sleep at daytime and go to work at night time. Because I have the source of light, I can work during the night. So these were the effects of fire to the man. And actually these were the importance of fire or the uses of fire to the man after discovering it in the Middle Stone Age. So from the Middle Stone Age up to today, we are getting the benefit of fire. Question number 9. One of the important outcomes of the shift of man from working by 4 limbs to bipedalism was, what were the main reason, or what were the main advantages man gained from working of 4 limbs to work by using 2 limbs. Working by 2 limbs, technically it's called the bipedalism. Bipedalism, that is a situation where man started working by 2 limbs. Then what were the advantages of that? How man benefited from that? And the answer is that it was a multiple choice, making and using tools. When man started to work by using 2 limbs, then sum of limbs, remember we have 4 limbs. 4 limbs mean that we have hind limbs and 4 limbs. So when man started man working by using 2 limbs, the sum of limbs were free from working. Then those limbs were free from working, man used those limbs to do those activities, making and using tools. At the beginning, while man was moving by using 4 limbs, it was difficult to get time using those other limbs for activities. But now man working or moving by using 2 limbs, then there is free 2 limbs. Again, those free 2 limbs help the man to make different activities and different tools. During which period did the pre-colonial Tanzanians engage in paintings and drawings found at Kondoa, Iran? Among all the famous historical sites we have, I can ask you the questions. The question, where Kondoa, Iran found? In which region? So make sure you're aware, you know where I can find Kondoa, Iran. Kondoa, Iran is found in Dodoma. So there Dodoma, why is famous? Because of these paintings and drawings of the earliest man. Then in which period? The answer is late Stone Age. Those drawings found at Kondoa, Iran are coming from late Stone Age. So make sure you understand that it is from late Stone Age. Into which major periods is the Stone Age divided? Into which major periods Stone Age divided? Before answering this question, I want to tell you, my dear students, especially students out of other viewers, but those students, the issue of questions, national exam questions to you, it's called the assessment. Those questions are not coming from heaven or are not coming from other places. Are those normal things we're discussing in the class? Why am I saying this? Example, check the question number 11. That was question number 1, Roman 9, 2017. Very simple question. Everyone, I'm sure, understand this. If you covered the 4 topics of Form 1, you are able to understand this. And even before Form 1, since they are primary, we run that. Maybe if you are coming from Swahili school, but even if Swahili school, once you were in secondary, it was easy to convert it. And if you are coming from English medium schools, this concept we discussed a lot of time. So it was a very simple question, meaning that all the questions that you asked in national exams are those things we are discussing in the class. So do not have that examination fever and starting shivering, starting panicking, or the exam is what and what. Normal questions. You can check yourself since we started discuss question number 1 up to question number 11. All those we discussed, the normal things, you found it in the class. So according to this question number 11, usually if I found this question while I'm discussing with my kids, I'm saying that these are the kind of questions you're supposed to think, God, I'm not going to get 0. So because of this question, no one will get 0. And actually that is the reason or the way we are making exams. While we are making exams, we are targeting all kind of students, those higher learners, lower learners, slow learners, all of those, the way we are preparing questions. So this, according to this question number 11, it is 3. We have 3 divisions of Stone Age, and I'm sure you're able to mention them. You can mention those 3 divisions of Stone Age. Yes. Number 1, it is early Stone Age. Number 2, it is middle Stone Age, and late Stone Age. Briefly explain the following. Here it was 17, question number 4, Roman 2. You need to explain what is Homo erectus. Homo erectus, this was upright man who existed around 1.9 million in their years. He was the first man to work by using 2 limbs and developed fire. So these were the reasons, these were the features or characteristics connected to Homo erectus. First of all, it was upright man. When we say upright man, we mean the first man to walk straight upward without bending by using those 2 limbs, standing effectively without shaking or going down. He standed upright, walking by 2 limbs. He existed those years ago, but also this was the first man to work by using 2 limbs and developed fire. This was the man existed in Middle Stone Age, and this is our ancestor who gave us fire, the one who discovered the fire. Which one of the following sites represent the earliest Stone Age? Orovai Gorge presented the early Stone Age. So there are so many sites represented the early Stone Age, but according to the question, it was a multiple choice. So those alternatives provided, this one was the correct, the rest were distracted. So there are so many more than all this, Orovai Gorge, but referring the questions, multiple choice, that was the correct one. And I'm sure you know what is all about Orovai Gorge. One of the characteristics of man before discovery of iron technology was something like a repeated one here, dependence on environment for survival. I'm sure there is one in exam we saw the same question, if not 2015 or 2016, we saw the same question, and they repeated it again in 2018. One thing I can add to you, please, while we are revising this, do not debate and trying to arrange. 2018, they asked these questions. 2019, they asked these questions. So we're expecting maybe 2020, they're going to ask these questions. Please do not debate. What you need to do is revise, put in your head, wait for the questions. Do not try to use these questions, making your algorithm, making your matrix, trying to figure out what will come next. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. It's so hard to predict what is coming to the next. What is necessary, check your concept, check your content, check your notes, use the questions, wait for the exams. Do not use these questions to predict the coming questions. You will suffer, my friend. Oh. Then we have question number 15. Important urban centers like Meroe in western Sudan emerged as the result of Meroe. Meroe was the result of what? It was the result of metalworking. We have Meroe, we have Nok, and we have Axam. These were the famous, or the first, or the earliest iron or metalworking centers in Africa. So today they ask you Meroe. Next time, make sure you be aware with Nok, N-O-K, and the Axam, A-X-U-M. These were plus Meroe. These were 3 famous metal centers in Africa. Which of the following was important change in evolution of man? Which of the following was important change in evolution of man? And you can check there, they repeated in those 2 exams, 19 and 20. 19 and 20. When you see this repeated, please do not try to bet. Not try to predict the future. And then the development of brain. The important change to human is advancement of brain. Once brain is developed, other things are coming. But we have development of brain and working by 2 limbs. These were very, very crucial change of man in the process of evolution. But the foremost, it is development of brain. When your brain is working, when your brain is advanced, we are sure that you can do something that is meaningful, comparing the one who have smaller brain or thin brain. Question number 17, which of the following is an early iron site in East Africa? So those Meroe, Nok, and the Axam, those are famous in Africa-wise, and we are the earliest one before even this in East Africa. But also we have according to the zone. In East Africa, we have the earliest one that was Engaruka. Engaruka was the earliest one in East Africa. And you should understand at what time in East Africa we started to get this iron technology. It is the first millennium after Christ, or after Common Era, BC. After BC, I mean AC, not BC, sorry. AD, come on, what am I thinking? It is AD, Anno Domino, or after Common Era, CE. 1 millennium CE, 1 millennium AD, that is when we got iron technology in East Africa. And the first place it was Engaruka, or the earliest place it was Engaruka in Arusha. Engaruka is located in Arusha. Next time they can ask you in map. They can ask you in map. They are going to give you the map and locate where earliest iron site located in East Africa or in Tanzania. So you should be aware the name and the place. The name is Engaruka. The location is in Arusha, Tanzania. Brief explain the following. Who was Zinjanthropus? Who was Zinjanthropus? While I was at school, we used to call those people, with the way their faces were looking, we called them, you are Zinjanthropus, you are looking ugly, you are Zinjanthropus. That was jokes. So who was Zinjanthropus? Was earliest man of Australopithecus, African family, who discovered in Oroville Gorge by Dr. Louis Leake and her wife, Mary Leake, that time, 1959. That was Zinjanthropus. The skull that discovered by that man, Louis Leake and Mary Leake, and Zinjanthropus is coming from the family called the Australopithecus. Australopithecus. The issue is, actually now we're in 2025, the time I'm recording this. In 2025, we have new textbook from Thai. Thai new textbook, the way they are arranging the series of this evolution of man, sometimes it is very hard to find where is Zinjanthropus. So we are getting this concept by referring the previous document or by referring the previous textbook. The modern one, they are not mentioning about Zinjanthropus, but Zinjanthropus is within those series of evolution of man. Briefly explain the following. What was Iron Age? Iron Age. Refer the term age. I'm sure you learned about what is age, the initial of time in the first topic. So if you know what is age, it's very easy to define what is Iron Age. It was a period when man discovered and used the iron tools. When we are defining what is age, you said the period based by man tools, by activities and tools used by man to that activities. So in iron, the tools used here, it was iron tools. They discovered the iron tools and used the iron tools for the activities. And this, it was age after Stone Age. Soon after late Stone Age, a Neolithic Revolution, then man discovered the iron. Neolithic Revolution, Neolithic Revolution preceded by Iron Age. Briefly explain the following. What he was blacksmith. All of us were aware about this, I'm sure. Blacksmiths, these were the people specialized in making iron tools during Iron Age. So we have blacksmith and we have Iron Age or iron tools. This concept, you should connect with the case called the specialization of labor. Specialization of labor. Blacksmith is among of the occupation or among of specialization existed after discovering of iron. Who was the systematic toolmaker in the evolution of man? Systematic toolmaker in the evolution of man. Among a very, very famous question in this concept of evolution of man. The systematic toolmaker was Homo habilis. So we have Homo erectus. When man started moving by two limbs and he became free from two limbs and the other limbs were free for doing other activities, man started making tools. Then he shifted from Homo erectus to Homo habilis. Homo habilis was the systematic toolmaker. Mean that, yes, Homo erectus made some of tools, but we are not clearly and good as made by Homo habilis. Tools made by Homo erectus were very behind in quality and quantity comparing to the tools made by Homo habilis. Homo habilis was at least made something that you can see and observe. This is knife, this is axe, this is hoe. So in short, we are saying systematic thing that is clear arranged. That was Homo habilis. Please make sure you're able to differentiate these two humans, Homo habilis and Homo erectus. All of them, they are coming from Homo. Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens sapiens. But now we're discussing about Homo erectus and Homo habilis. Homo erectus, upright man, working by two limbs. Homo habilis, systematic tool maker. Then we have this question number 23. An evolution of man has passed through several stages involving the change in the structural features and the way of life. Sure. Which ways of life are associated with Homo sapiens? So Homo sapiens done what? Homo sapiens domesticating plants and the animal. So you can see Homo habilis make tools. After making tools, he used those tools for permanent settlement, and he started domestication of animals and the crop plantation. And actually that is what called the Neolithic revolution. So that was Homo sapiens. Then what is Homo sapiens sapiens? We're going to check the coming questions. Which period in history, that should be history there, that's spelling error. Which period of history of human beings is marked by the appearance of both Zinjanthropus and Homo habilis? Which period? The answer is early Stone Age. In early Stone Age, we saw Zinjanthropus existed, Zinjanthropus disappeared, and the Homo habilis existed. So in early Stone Age, we saw these two stages, Zinjanthropus and the Homo habilis. Arrange the following sentences in chronological order. Then we need to arrange the sentences here. These are the sentences. You can check different sentence, the same topic but different sentence. The concept is just one. Make sure you understand clearly the content of history. If you know the content of history, arranging sentences is not the case. So firstly, you should read all those questions, a mini sentence from sentence number 1 to the sentence number 5. If necessary, again, you can repeat the second time, depending on the level of your understanding. But once, if you are so fasty, while you read it once, you can figure what is going to be the first sentence. But if you can read again the second time, after reading the second time, start putting those marks. I think this should be the first sentence. Connect the coming one up the last sentence. So according to this one, sentence number 1, it was Roman 3. The origin of man has controversial issues among the historians, especially when and how man came into existence. Number 2, Darwin theory suggests that man's species have been evolving gradually from lower stage to higher stage. So you can check here. We started from the controversial, then we are going to those theories. Number 3, the evolution theory suggests that members of Australopithecus family which lived during the early Stone Age could make tools. So connection from Charles Darwin theory. And then number 4, the discovery of fire during the Middle Stone Age enabled Homo erectus to eat roasted food. So here we have another proof. Homo erectus discovered fire. And the last one, at the stage of Homo sapiens, man began crop cultivation and animal husbandry to supplement hunting and gathering. And as a proof of the activities, what Homo sapiens done. The activities done by Homo sapiens, it was a Neolithic revolution, crop cultivation and keeping animals, and the activity done by Homo erectus is discovering of fire and eating cooked food. In the other way, sometimes we're using these sentences to get another knowledge. So here, these sentences are correct. Then from these sentences, out of arranged sentences, when we are reading this sentence, we are getting another fact. That fact helping us to use them in other places. Example, the activities of this Homo sapiens and the activities of this Homo erectus. So that is how we needed to arrange those sentences. Actually, if you see Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, then you know. In the series of evolution, which stage man started? We started Homo erectus, then we went to Homo sapiens. In that way, the sentence of Homo sapiens should be the first. The sentence of Homo erectus should be the first, and then the sentence of Homo sapiens following after that. So that is how we are arranging. Make sure you have the hint. Make sure you have the hint why this should be the first sentence and why this should be the coming sentence. Make sure you have the hint to connect there. If you don't have that, you are out of the game, my friend. So make sure you have those hints. According to Charles Darwin, adaptation enables an organism to survive and reproduce. What's likely to happen if animal lacks such adaptations? What might happen if animal or human don't have that adaptation? Actually, it's animal. Charles Darwin explained that. This question sometimes is necessary to connect with the concept of biology. I'm sure you are Form 2 or you are Form 4, but biology is mandatory to all the curriculum, all the class from Form 1 to Form 4, we are learning biology. So there is one concept in biology, you are learning about the growth, something like that. You are learning about these theories, where man come from. So you should connect the concept. But even not connecting the concept, I'm sure you learned in history what happened if the organism failed to adapt the environment where the organism found. What will happen? That organism will perish and will be from the face of the earth. That's what's going to happen. And where are we getting this? From the concept of survival for the fittest. Mean that if you are existing today, you are strong, you survived. Yes, you survived some of circumstances, so you are able to live, you adapted the environment. And those who perished or those who whipped their way were not able to adapt, they are weak, and the other issues. But we don't mean that those who died, they failed to survive. There are some of reasons we don't mention, but simply to understand it is like that. Those who survived were strong, those who were weak, they perished, from the concept of survival for the fittest. And this concept, if you dig well or you dig well, the concept of history is connected to the cases of white colonialism, white connected capitalism, and this concept of survival for the fittest. But this is not discussion of today. We may check it in next discussions or next topics. Differentiate between primates and zinjanthropes. Primates and zinjanthropes. These were the differences. Primate is a family in evolution of man, which consists of species like monkey, chimpanzee, and gorilla. So primate is the family. Where are we coming from? So those monkeys are our relatives, chimpanzee are our relatives, gorilla are our relatives. That is where we are coming from. It is not me, it is according to the science and that man called Charles Darwin. While zinjanthropes were the stage of evolution of man in Australopithecus, in which it is skull discovered by Dr. Louis Leakey and by Gorge. So here we have the pot, and things inside of the pot. The pot here is primates, and inside of primates we have zinjanthropes. Zinjanthropes is the product of primates. So when you see those monkeys in this forest, sometimes maybe your uncles or what. Question number 29. What are the composition of the tools made during late Stone Age? This was the correct composition: spears, barbed arrows, and the blades. These were the correct composition. Arrange the sentences again. You ask to arrange the sentences. So the same concept. The rules, read the sentences again, then start to find the hints, why this is the first, why this is the second, why that is the last. So according to these sentences, number Roman 4, the first one, Roman 2, the second one, Roman 5, the third one, Roman 1, the fourth one, and the Roman 3, the fifth one. One thing, please, in academic, we are not in actual listening issue of words. Maybe there are numbers you can try to bet, but here there's no numbers. Don't try to say, Roman 1 can be number 1, Roman 2, number 2. I'm not sure if they can come with that idea of arranging sentences simply like that way. So please do not try to bet, read it correctly, read it slowly, arrange your sentence correct way as the historian need. Question number 31. Human beings came into existence together with the other animals. Which one of the following consisted a family of primates? From which one belongs? If we are together, the previous questions differentiate between primates and anthropos. If you got that question correct, here you are able to answer this question. Primates consist what? Primates consist this one: apes, gorillas, and monkeys. Apes, gorilla, and monkeys. Apes, sometimes those chimpanzee. So these are our fathers from those ancient time. Which statements describe the way early human beings obtained their food during early Stone Age? How man obtained food during early Stone Age? Human beings ate remains of prey killed by carnivorous animals. And number 2, human beings gathered roots, fruits, and eggs from environment. This was multiple choice question, but within the multiple choices, they gave you 2 sentences to be the correct sentence of that multiple choices. Those questions, they give you questions, and then the answers they are put in Romans. Roman 1, Roman 2, Roman 3, Roman 4. And then in the alternative, they say A, either Roman 1 and Roman 2. B, either Roman 3 and Roman 4. C, either maybe Roman 1 and Roman 4. Those are the kind of questions. That's why we have these 2 sentences explaining about the answer of that question. So man got food from the remains killed by prey. Example, maybe lion killed the antelope. After eating it, those remains, man collected it. Or out of that, man gathered the fruits and the roots and the eggs from the forest. And if I'm not mistaken, this can be maybe the last one. Match historical explanation. So here we need to match the items. Matching the items. List A, you are given the informations. Just the hint you can say, slide info. And the list B, you need to connect the info for list A. The thing we are doing here, this is my trick. You can check it if it's going to be helpful to you. In list A and list B, before starting answering or escaping the panicking, read first the list B. Check the alternative provided in list B. If all alternatives provided in list B, you are aware about them, then you're done about list A. Because list B, depending to list A. We do have list A without list B. So all those written in list B, there is a connection to list A. So read first the terminologies or the information we're given in list B. If you know what is evolution theory, if you know what is the bipedalism, you know what is equation theory, you know what is agriculture, you know what is carbon 14, you know what is scavenging, you know what is primates, you know what is survival for the fittest. If you know these 8 H, all terms you are aware about them, then you are lucky. Nothing can be asked in list A, you don't know about it, because you know what are those in list B. So from there, you are coming back in list A, the situation in which adaptation enable organism to survive and reproduce. The situation in which adaptation enable organism to survive and reproduce. In mathematics, they used to give us very simple examples, but when you have the exercise, it's different from the examples. So if your teacher explained to you one way without go another way, putting to different scenarios, you cannot survive here, my friend. So what the answer here? The answer, I'm sure it's letter H, survival for the fittest. Survival for the fittest, that is the ability for us to adapt and reproduce in the environment. Explain the origin of human being by describing the changes that occurs that our ancestors underwent to become modern human being. Theories of those theories of evolution. We have 2 theories of evolution, so be aware. Which theory explain about where our ancestors come from, which changes our ancestor adopted or went. That theory is theory of evolution about by Charles Darwin, and that's letter A. evolution theory. Remember, the creation theory is all about supernatural power, all animals, all what made by God. That is the creation theory. In creation theory, there's not many blah blah. We are not questioning the God, I mean. But in creation theory, evolution theory, we have so many steps to prove because it's scientific. That is the evolution theory by Charles Darwin. The kind of movement of human beings by using 2 legs. When a man you moved by 2 legs, that was bipedalism. To simplify things here, if we have the bicycle, even if you don't have, but I'm sure you have seen the bicycle, it is called the bicycle. Why it's called the bicycle? Because there are 2 cycles. 2 cycles. The forward cycle and the hind cycle, bicycle. And then my concept is not in the case of the name of bicycle. My concept is bipedalism, why we have pedal. In the bicycle, there's something called the pedal. Pedal. Those pedal is where we are putting our legs, and while we cycle it, we are moving. So we are moving because of those pedal. So we take the concept of those pedal, we add that by is referred to bisexual, by what, by pedalism, by score, by stand for 2. So bipedalism means that moving by 2 things. What are those 2 things? Were those 2 limbs? Bipedalism. The way through which early human beings obtained food during early Stone Age. How man obtained food during early Stone Age? That is through scavenging, moving in the forest, not having permanent settlement, hunting and gathering. Assets of God created a man and a woman whose descendants dispersed to all parts of the earth. What is it all about? That is all about creation theory, proving by holy books, I mean, Bible and the Quran and the Torah to Jews. So these were the answers of question number 33, list A and list B. Very, very good questions to assess how far you understand the topic of evolution of man and the technology. By saying so, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, thank you for choosing ClassroomTZ. Keep updating other topics continuously. Up the last topics of Form 4. Now we're in Form 2. After Form 2, we'll go to Form 4. The same way, questions and answers. I'm Shadrach Swiller. Thank you for choosing ClassroomTZ. Ciao.